The biggest change in the Secure Act 2.0 that got obviously lots of changes. The biggest change, in my opinion, is the new ability to roll over or transfer dollars from your 529 plan to a Roth IRA. You heard that right. If you're not aware of that, that's new news. So what do we know? What's still unknown? And how does it work? I've got that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Yeah, this is unbelievable, guys. I heard the rumors earlier, and then when it was officially passed, it's sort of a head scratcher. Amongst the 4,000 pages in the Secure Act 2.0, the omnibus spending bill. This is Secure Act 2.0, guys, and so tons of tax law changes. I think over 100 or around 100 tax law changes. In my opinion, the biggest one, bar none. Yes, you could say, oh, they changed RMD and there's some other, Rothification stuff, but my goodness, they now allow, starting soon, but they now allow that you're going to be able to transfer money from your 529 plan into a Roth IRA. Money from your 529 plan into a Roth IRA is now going to be an eligible transfer. Unbelievable. All right, so why would they do this before we get into the rules? Now, number one, the Roth IRA and the 529 work very similarly. In fact, we've often said the 529 is like the Roth IRA, but for college, okay? So Roth IRA, the tax rules are your contribution is not a deduction today, Roth IRA. So you don't get a tax benefit for putting money into the Roth IRA. And then all the investment activity within there, all the capital gains, dividends, all that is sheltered from tax. And then the growth, all that growth on there, when you withdraw those dollars out there in retirement, you meet the criteria, then all the growth is tax-free. That's how the Roth IRA works. 529. At a federal level, that's a key point. At a federal level, all your contributions, there's no tax benefit. You can put money into your 529 plan, you don't get a tax benefit for that. At the federal level, you do in many states, but not at the federal level. All the investment activity within your 529 is sheltered from tax. The dividends, capital gains, all that stuff is sheltered. And then as it grows, when you withdraw those dollars for a qualifying educational expense, so for college or whatever, they've expanded those rules a little bit, then all that growth comes out tax-free. So you can see these are essentially, they operate the exact same, except one's for retirement, the other's for college. And so, yes, you could say then logically, I could see why Congress would make this shift, however, or make this allowable. However, just a couple things. In my 20-year career, I've never heard this rumored before this year, before even just a couple of months ago. So while you would say it's logical, and we've called the 529 the Roth IRA, but for college, I'm a little shocked that they're making this connection. The other thing that is shocking about this is this sort of flies in the face of Congress's big kind of initiative right now, which is they need tax revenue. They need tax revenue. We've got an enormous deficit and a ballooning national debt. And so they're trying, a lot of the Secure Act 2.0 is Rothification. They're trying to encourage you to contribute after tax so that they can tax your income today, and they're willing to give up some tax-free growth in the future. But allowing this transfer means there's going to be more money that's going to be sheltered from taxes. So I'm a little surprised by that. But I guess the angle is this is an effort to encourage people to contribute to a 529 plan. If you've thought, well, and I did a video about this just a few weeks ago. I heard a rumor that it's believed that many people don't contribute to 529 plans and save up for college because they think it will hurt them from a financial aid calculation standpoint, and therefore people don't save up into 529 plans as often as they should. Therefore, more people get student loans. I think that's a stretch. I think that's a stretch, but this rule of allowing you to transfer money from a 529 plan into a Roth IRA certainly encourages people to contribute to a 529 plan, right? If you now know that, listen, any dollars that I don't use, gosh, because how can you fully accurately project how much exactly you're going to spend on college for your kids? And, you're going to have potentially, what if you have more than one kid? What if you have grandkids? That sort of thing. How can you accurately determine how much you should be saving up. And again, I'm hesitating here because we do this planning work for clients all the time. And so there's no one way to pinpoint it, but there is an approach that you take to save up for college. But allowing any excess dollars to be transferred from a 529 to a Roth IRA certainly encourages people or gives people more of a green light to say it's safe. Contribute to your 529 plan. Save up for college. Okay, so what do we know other than the headline that you're going to be able to transfer money from a 529 plan to a Roth IRA? There's a lot we don't know. I'll hit that in just a second, but what do we know? Number one, effective 2024. So the powers that be and the financial institutions have about a year to figure this out. And as we've seen with other things, this is going to be so complicated that it's very possible we get really close to the end of the year and the IRS says, yeah, we're not going to be able to implement this in 2024. We're not ready. But as of right now, what we know should be allowed to do this starting in 2024. That's number one. Number two, we know that the 529 that you're going to make the transfer from has to be open for at least 15 years before you can make this change. So it's not something that you can say, oh, I wanted to do a loophole to get money into a Roth. No, you've got to have the 529 open for 15 years. So we know that. Number three, we know it can't just be anyone's Roth IRA, which is sort of what I thought when I first read these headlines and the rumors a while back is, well, from a 529 plan, I can just contribute that to anyone's Roth IRA. And no, money can go from the 529 plan into the Roth IRA of the 529 plan's beneficiary. And this is a big tangent here, but with the 529 plan, you have an owner. That's the person who's in charge of the account, who funds the account and has the authorization to withdraw money from the account. A successor owner, and that's the person who's in charge if the owner passes away. In most other cases, this is called the beneficiary, but that's not the case. It's a successor owner. And then the beneficiary is the student, the child. Whose money is this going, or whose money is this saved up for, right? Whose college is this saved up for? And so the beneficiary. So what we know about this rule is the 529 plan can be transferred into the Roth IRA for that beneficiary, okay? We believe that you'll be able to change the beneficiary. Right now, that is a luxury that you have with 529 plans. We don't know if there's going to be some limitations on that, so I'll get into that more. Fourth, we know that you can't just contribute all or transfer all of your 529 plan to that Roth IRA for that beneficiary. It needs to adhere to the contribution limits and requirements of the Roth IRA. So right now you can only do $6,500 per year, right? You can't do a full amount. That's the annual contribution. So you would only be able to do $6,500 a year. And then the last thing that we know is that the maximum amount of contribution or transfer from a 529 plan into a Roth IRA for someone is $35,000 over their lifetime. That's the lifetime limit. So you can't do $100,000, you can't do $1 million and all that sort of stuff. Lifetime limit, $35,000. Lots that we don't know. Even whether financial institutions will be able to pull off this big of a change and have it ready by 2024. But what do we not know just yet? Okay, and the first is we believe you're going to be able to change that beneficiary, but we don't know if they're going to place restrictions or limitations on that. So so here's the sort of scenario, and I don't have a great answer on that right now. So I am the owner of our kid's 529 plan. So I'm the owner. My wife is the successor owner. The beneficiary right now, let's just pick on the oldest child right now. So she's 12, so that's how we have our account structured. Well, after she gets through school, if there's money left over, this is money that I've contributed. So could I just change the beneficiary? As the owner, I would have that authority. Could I just change the beneficiary from our daughter to me and then move the money from that 529 plan over to my Roth IRA? It's possible. It's possible. I believe that you'll be able to do that. What we don't know. Now, you might say, well, that's cruel. You should transfer it to the Roth IRA of your daughter, right? This is money that she didn't use for college. Well, I know, but money that we've saved up for. So I think people are going to look at this both ways, and we're going to want clarification from Congress, really the IRS, as to how often can you change that beneficiary, and will that be allowed? Will that influence these rules at all? Another thing that we don't know is I mentioned how these 529 plans work. You probably are aware of that, but you may or may not know many states offer a tax benefit, a tax incentive to save up into your state's 529 plan. Here in Indiana, where I live, is the best in a 20% state tax credit on the first $7,500 you contribute. That's a $1,500 tax credit that you get, that Hoosiers get when they contribute to the state's 529 plan. Well, when you transfer the money, so here's how that works. When you then later use that 529 plan money, your contributions that you now got a state tax benefit for, when you use that money for eligible college expenses, educational expenses, great, you received that credit long ago and, fair exchange. If you withdraw the money from your 529 plan, and you had gotten that state tax benefit, but you withdraw it for a non-eligible expense, you actually have to repay that tax benefit. So, is a transfer from the 529 plan to the Roth IRA, are you going to have to pay back some of your state tax benefits? And you might say, well, that's cruel. I don't know. This is, this is a federal law now, federal rule that they've created within the Secure Act 2.0. Now the states need to figure out, well, how are we going to treat this? I don't know if it'll take them a whole year, maybe longer, to determine that. Many states give a deduction for 529 contributions. Indiana is rare in that it gives a credit, but you will have to see. Just because the IRS allows you to do this at the federal level, you've got to be aware of any consequences at the state level. I would like clarity on if you make too much money to contribute to a Roth IRA, can you still move money from a 529 to the Roth? I'm curious about that. I believe that answer is no, because it states that you need to, kind of adhere to the normal contribution requirements and restrictions of funding the Roth. So I'm curious about that. And then second, because it's a transfer for the beneficiary, I think it's very possible these beneficiaries, these adult students, they just graduated, they might be funding a Roth IRA, but mom and dad want to do something nice for them and transfer some of the 529 to a Roth IRA for them. So if you contribute out of cash to a 529 plan, can you also contribute from your 529, out of cash to a Roth IRA, can you also contribute from transfer money from your 529 to your Roth? I'm certain that answer is no, but I'd like to see more confirmation, interpretation from the IRS that is true. Those are just a handful of the things that we don't know about this rule yet. There's a lot more, so stay tuned, and we'll certainly be staying tuned to this as the IRS interprets it. But knowing that this rule now exists, and the IRS needs to figure out how they're going to interpret it, financial institutions are going to figure out how are they going to allow for it, you've got to start the work right now, working with your CFP to say, does this shift our 529 strategy? Every conversation that we're having with our clients right now, there's an entire section on the agenda of how does the Secure Act 2.0 impact you, and this one impacts the majority of the clients that we serve. So talk to your certified financial planner about that. While we're all waiting to figure out exactly how this works, and that certainly will influence whether it's a strategy you should employ or not, talk to your CFP right now to see if this needs to be incorporated in your planning. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.